explorers. To reach the mound sites safely requires local skills and knowledge of the area. The mangrove swamps are a low-tide labyrinth of tortuous turns and dead ends. Carrying all the equipment that they will require to undertake their various surveys, members of the Gaia Project, Dr. Joan Hanley, Dr. Claude Swanson, and research assistant Donnie Fields face a grueling trek through the tangled undergrowth. Due to the ravages of a recent hurricane, the survey markers placed by a previous expedition have been destroyed, and upon reaching the mounds, a conference is convened to discuss the plan of attack.
Right there, where are some of the features that you would like to look at today?
Okay, well, as you know, last year we came here with the ground-penetrating radar system and laid out about 25 transect where we cleared some paths and made radar surveys over a grid in the mound. And we have some points where we saw anomalies last year.
With new markers in place, Dr. Swanson commences the survey with technology of his own design.
This device is called the Passive Anomaly Detector. It's an experimental system, still under development. This device measures the vertical electric and magnetic fields around the Earth. If we go over a building or some other submerged structure, it'll show a change in the frequency over the building structure. Making a two-dimensional pattern over that submerged structure, we can see the shape of the outline of the walls or of the building.
While the electronic testing continues, other expedition members utilize more conventional methods.
Finding a source of fresh water in the middle of the rectangular-shaped effigy mound here on Bimini gives us one supporting clue to the idea that it may have been man-made rather than a nature formation. All right, Donnie, there's water down there. I can see it. Oh, boy, give me a turn here. Maybe we can raise it up. Is that enough?
No, one more. This is a different material. This all has organic matter in it here, but yet we have the oolitic sand right here. You can feel the different coarseness of it.
Oh, yeah.
See?
All right.
References to fresh water permeate the entire Atlantis story. Plato made specific reference to hot springs and fountains of fresh water flowing in abundance throughout Atlantis. During the 1920s, Edgar Cayce predicted that a large complex of healing springs would be discovered on Bimini, which would have a direct connection to Atlantis. Even in historical times, Bimini has had the reputation as the possible location for the fabled Fountain of Youth. Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon so fervently believed in the Indian legend of Bimini's healing waters that he spent a fortune in gold trying to find it. Despite visiting every large or important island in the Bahamas, he somehow managed to miss the two tiny islands of Bimini. The fact that various strains of orchids, bromeliads, and other plant species requiring fresh water flourish amidst the saltwater mangroves of the mounds is in itself an anomaly. To some, the healing springs of Edgar Cayce and Ponce de Leon's lost Fountain of Youth have already been found on Bimini. Claims are made as to their regenerative properties, resulting in their becoming a veritable tourist attraction.
The reason I wanted to return to the research on Bimini is that after studying all that I could find written by experts in the field, I felt they had drawn their conclusions prematurely, that with the advent of new technology, Bimini deserved another look. The reason we decided to have a geologist come back to the Bimini Road and take more coring samples is that we wanted to see for ourselves actual cores taken from the rocks.
Find it.
With the assistance of Dr. Swanson, Florida geologist Bill Raymond prepares to take a series of core samples from the Bimini Road site.
I'll go down and mark a stone to drill on, and and then I'd like to ask you to drill and make a coring in the center of the stone. How far down do you think would be good to go today for a coring sample?
I think we need to go about 3 feet to get through that stone.
How long do you think it'll take to drill down to that depth?
A couple hours.
A couple hours. Okay.
Although previous expeditions have undertaken coring operations on the road, their findings were focused on a number of specific areas of the site. Aided by his son Donovan, Bill Raymond faces many hours of heavy and strenuous labor. What the research team hopes the coring analysis will show is that the different layers of stones will have markedly contrasting characteristics. Should this prove to be the case, it would indicate that the stones had been placed on top of each other by other than natural means. If the stones are the same, it would suggest a geological formation. Observing the work from the sidelines, expedition members look on with anticipation, monitoring the drill's slow but steady progress towards the hoped-for conclusion. As Bill Raymond inspects the cut, his son Donovan keeps the heavy piece of machinery cutting at a straight angle by continuously kicking. A jammed coring bit at this stage of the game would cause hours of delay. More than 5 hours have elapsed by the time the coring equipment reaches its depth limit, deep below the surface of the Bimini Road. Extracting the sample is a critical process. A mishap now could result in the loss of the entire day's effort. Fatigue has set in and shows in the movements of the divers. For the first time in a millennium, this portion of the Bimini Road will be above the ocean's surface, once more in the world of air and sunlight. Specializing in underwater geology, Bill Raymond must first take back to his lab the core samples for a detailed analysis before he can make a determination as to their origin. To preserve the integrity of the core, it must be kept in its original configuration.
Some people have claimed that any archaeological sites found in the Bimini area are evidence of Atlantis having been here. I can't really say anything about Atlantis in Bimini. It's a possibility. What I will say about Atlantis is that if it did exist, I personally believe it would have been pushed under the Caribbean plate. Atlantis was supposedly located in the Atlantic, and the Atlantic plate is colliding with the Caribbean plate, and anything as old as Atlantis could very well have been pushed under the Caribbean plate and may never be found.
Developed by Dr. Harold Edgerton of MIT, side-scan sonar retrieves a three-dimensional image of the sea floor by utilizing sound